So this is the LG Stylo 3 Plus. It was first launched back in June of 2017, so about 8 months ago. I've owned this device for some time now. I did an unboxing video, but I never did a full review. So welcome to my full review, and I'll let you know if I still think it's worth picking up in 2018. Kick this off with design and build. I personally like the way the Stylo 3 Plus looks. I think LG did a great job. You have what looks like a metallic frame going around the top, bottom, and the sides there, but it is plastic, but it gives it a little more premium look. To the bottom, micro USB charging with Quick Charge 2.0, your mic, and your headphone jack. And to the left-hand side, you have your volume rockers there. Now, my past couple months of using the Stylo 3 Plus, the volume rockers are still nice, tactile, and responsive. They haven't become loose feeling or anything like that. Take a look up on top, you got your noise cancellation mic, and then you can see the placement of the stylus to the corner there. And again, I think LG did a great job, and it's nice and flush with the frame. And to the back, you have a 13 megapixel camera, LED flash, your power button / fingerprint sensor, LG branding, and then a backfiring speaker. I also like the back cover. It does have somewhat of a brushed metal type of look to it. And the Stylo 3 Plus actually feels pretty lightweight in the hand. You also get some really good weight distribution, so it doesn't feel, too heavy on top or on the bottom. Overall, I think LG did a fantastic job with the design and build. And you can also remove the back cover, and removing the back cover does get you access to your SIM card. You can also input an SD card to expand the storage. You're getting a 3080 milliamp hour removable battery, and I've actually purchased about 3 batteries, so I love the fact that you got a removable battery option on this. You can just swap them out as your day goes. And moving on to the fingerprint sensor to the back of the LG Stylo 3 Plus, I absolutely love the placement. It's easy to reach, and the fingerprint sensor is very accurate. I mean, it pretty much unlocks each and every time I place my finger, so that is a nice security feature. And moving on to the display now, so you're getting a 5.7 inch full HD IPS display. So that's 1080 by 1920, about 386 pixels per inch. And as you can see from the different wallpapers, it is actually a pretty nice 1080p panel. So when it comes to the display, I have no issues with it whatsoever. Now when it comes to the auto brightness, that's an area where I notice where if I go indoors, sometimes the auto brightness will go too low and then I'll have to manually adjust it. So let me know if you have any issues with your auto brightness. Now when it comes to outdoor visibility, in direct sunlight, the auto brightness actually works fantastic. It'll pretty much put the display up to about 100%, and then you'll get some decent visibility when you are outdoors in direct sunlight. When it comes to 4G LTE connectivity in the California area, I haven't had any issues there traveling from Los Angeles, San Francisco, and even up to the border of Oregon. So 4G LTE is solid. The same thing when it comes to phone calls, video calling. Callers at the other end say I sound perfectly fine, and it didn't suffer any type of drop calls. And another area the Stylo 3 Plus has been perfectly fine in the past couple months is connecting to Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. And as you can see right there, this does connect to the 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi. And when it comes to keyboard sensitivity, I mean, I send out a lot of text messages and a lot of emails daily, and I really didn't have much of an issue, and you can see the different emojis. Another option you have is just to basically use the stylus. So maybe, typing is kind of difficult for you. You have an option under the keyboard where you can use the stylus, and you can just basically write out whatever message you want to send. It actually works really well, so if you're not aware of this, definitely check it out. It's in the settings of the keyboard. Moving on to what's under the hood of the Stylo 3 Plus, you are getting the Qualcomm Snapdragon 435, clocked at 1.4 gigahertz. It is an octa-core processor, as well as the Adreno 505. Now, when it comes to these sensors, the Stylo 3 Plus is actually packed pretty good with a variety of sensors, as you can see there. Most importantly, this does have the gyroscope, the gyro sensor, so you can actually do VR, watch 360 video. And moving on to performance on the LG Stylo 3 Plus. For me, it's actually been pretty positive. But again, I'm the type of user that I don't download a whole bunch of apps on my smartphone. As you can see in the app drawer, those are the ones that I have. So for instance, Facebook, Instagram, I got the subscriber count widget, I got 2 games, and then I also have the Studio app just to monitor my analytics. So those are pretty much what I run across the board. But it didn't seem like I had much of an issue running any of those applications. I did notice sometimes there are some slow loading times, as you can see here with Amazon. But nevertheless, it was still able to run pretty much all the apps that I did throw at it. And even multitasking, I didn't really have any type of issues there. I was able to run, 2 applications side by side perfectly fine. But I will mention this only has 2 gigabytes of RAM. So you got to keep that in mind. Once you start throwing too much at this, and you have a whole bunch of apps open in the background, you will probably notice some slowdown and some stutter. So I've said this in the past with devices with 2 gigs of RAM, try to keep the background apps down to a minimum, clear them out as often as you can. Now moving on to YouTube, watching YouTube videos was perfectly fine. There was no type of blacking out during the videos, and the highest quality you are going to be able to watch YouTube videos is going to be at 1080p at 60 frames per second, and all the videos ran perfectly fine. And moving on from there, I'll go ahead and jump into settings now, and you actually get quite a bit of features under settings. I could probably just make a separate video about going through each and every feature, but I'm just going to touch on a couple of the features you have here. First one being is you have NFC on this, and this is something you don't see on a lot of Metro PCS phones, but you got NFC here, so if you're into doing Android Pay, Android Beam, you definitely have it here on the Stylo 3 Plus. And moving on from there, one of my favorite features on the LG device for years now is the fact that you can adjust the button combinations to the bottom there. So the on-screen buttons, you have that option there under settings. And moving on, you also have mini view. Now this is going to be extremely helpful if you have smaller hands and it's kind of hard to reach the top status bar. Just swipe across the on-screen buttons there, and then you can shrink down the display and get full access to your status bar. You can jump into other applications, so that actually is a cool feature. You also get your shortcut keys there, so it's a way of taking a selfie, taking a screenshot. You can open Capture Plus and Camera. Moving on to internal storage now, the Stylo 3 Plus does have 32 gigabytes of ROM. You can remove the back cover, input an SD card, and you can expand that storage. Now, when you input the SD card, it is going to let you know you can only use the SD card as portable storage, not as adoptable storage or internal storage. But as you can see here, Marvel Champions game, you can actually move a lot of the applications to the SD card. So as you can see there, I'm going to click change, and I get the option to move the game to the SD card. And the same thing goes for Facebook. It's one of the applications you can move to the SD card. Now, not all applications can be transferred to the SD card, but a lot of them can. So, that's a good feature with the SD cards. As you can see up on top, this is running Android 7.0 Nougat, December 1st, 2017 security patch. And that's one thing, the Stylo brand of devices have always gotten consistent updates. So hopefully we'll see that next version of Android very soon. And moving on, of course, you have the great feature of having a stylus for your LG Stylo 3 Plus. And as you can see from my stylus there, it still looks in good condition over the past couple months. Hasn't broken or anything like that. When you pull out the stylus, you do get these pop-up features that appear. And what is cool about it is you can pretty much assign whatever application you have downloaded on your Stylo 3 Plus to appear when you pull out the stylus. So I really like that feature, and it works good. It's a very useful tool, and it just pretty much glides across the LG Stylo 3 Plus, and you can pretty much just use it in any application. It works fine. And one of the options you have available is Pop Memo. So this can actually be very useful if you just need to jot down a quick note, just a quick reminder, and you're going to be able to do that using the stylus there. And you also have the option of, using different colors. And so, this can be actually very useful for a lot of people, and you can save it to your gallery. You also have this option called Capture Plus. Now, I use this quite a bit just to take a screenshot, and you can pretty much write down on anything, anywhere on your display and save it to your gallery. You have different options to choose from the pen tips and styles, from a paintbrush to a pencil to like a marker. You can change the size, transparency, and the color. And again, if you're on a specific website, maybe you're reading an article and you want to circle it, or maybe highlight an area, you can be able to do that and then save it to your gallery. A feature that is available is something called Pop Lens. So maybe you're reading an article, maybe you don't have your glasses, or it's difficult to see. You can use this option here and it'll enhance the area, and like a magnifying glass, in other words, and you can either have it black and white. So again, just something else that's baked in with the stylus. And you have a very popular feature here, which is called Screen Off Memo. So basically, the display can be off, you pull out the stylus, and then you can jot down a note right there on the display and save it to your gallery without ever unlocking the device. Again, the stylus can be a very good feature. You just got to remember that it's there. Sometimes you might forget you have that. And moving on to the cameras now. So you're getting that 13 megapixel autofocus rear camera and a 5 megapixel front-facing camera. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail regarding the cameras because I did a review a couple months ago where I go into detail about the front-facing camera, the rear-facing camera, photos, videos, low-light shots. So if you want to check out that video, it will be in the description below of this video. But I will share with you some of the features you have. One of them being is you can lock in the focus and the exposure, so I really like that. You also have a variety of filters to choose from, 9 different ones. So you even have the black and white option, and you have auto and panorama. Jumping into settings, the highest resolution you can record in is full HD 1080p. You got HDR on this, timer, cheese shutter, steady recording, and that actually works pretty well. It reduces the motion blur while you are recording. And moving on to the front-facing camera, I'm not much of a selfie person, but you do have the gesture shots there. So as you can see, it'll take a photo. You have an option for flash. Now, it's not really a flash. It just basically illuminates the display. So you're going to get some better low-light selfies. As you can see there, everything's working perfectly fine. So again, this is a good camera. It's not a bad camera. It can produce some very nice shots, especially when you are outdoors in good lighting conditions. Low light can get a little grainy, but definitely check for the link in the description below this video for my camera review. And moving on to audio now. So the LG Stylo 3 Plus can produce some decent audio. The only issue I have is the fact that LG decided to go with a backfiring speaker. Not the best placement. Hopefully on the LG Stylo 4, we'll see a downfiring speaker. But the backfiring speaker, like I said, it can produce some nice sounds, but it can easily get covered up if you put it down on a surface. You can cover it up with your hand like I'm doing now. But, you know, it can still produce some nice audio. And when it came to using the GPS on the LG Stylo 3 Plus, it seemed to work perfectly fine in the past couple months. I was able to get to my destinations, and it never lost my location in the time using it. Moving on to the Geekbench 4, for those of you that are interested, single core score 633, multi-core score 2,568. The Antutu benchmark test did score this in at 53,666. And moving on to gameplay on the LG Stylo 3 Plus. So in the past couple of months, I didn't really have much issues when it came to gameplay. I mean, pretty much all the games that I downloaded off the Google Play Store, the Stylo 3 Plus was able to run. Now, I did notice sometimes with the more higher frame rate intense games that I did notice a drop in frame, maybe some slow loading times, but nevertheless, the Stylo 3 Plus was able to run all the games that I did download off the Google Play Store. And moving on to battery life, so you are getting fast charging capabilities, Quick Charge 2.0. Now, if you're coming from a device that doesn't have Quick Charge, you're gonna love this feature. It absolutely makes a difference having Quick Charge. I love the fact that you can remove the back cover and just swap out the batteries. Like I said, I got a bunch of spare batteries. I go from 0 to 100 in a matter of seconds. So battery life is good. I can easily go through an entire day off a charge, and battery life will just vary depending on how you use your Stylo 3 Plus. Well, that's pretty much it for my full review regarding the LG Stylo 3 Plus, and after months of using this device, I definitely still recommend it. I think it's a good option, and it definitely checks a lot of the boxes, at least that I'm looking for in a smartphone. You also get that good feature, that nice tool, which is the stylus, and again, it can be very useful. Thank you guys for taking the time to watch this full review. I really do appreciate it. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the thumbs up button, and please subscribe to the channel for more future videos. This is Paul Tech, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.